And tonight, an Action News exclusive, the investigators expose a gaping hole in the region's justice system that's let millions of dollars owed to taxpayers go uncollected. And perhaps worse, it's let thousands of defendants skip out on their day in court and commit more crimes in the process.
One is accused of murdering a Detroit police officer, as we're about to show you.
Action News investigator Heather Cataldo joins us right now with what she's uncovered. Heather?
Well, Stephen and Carolyn, this is not about what's happening inside the courtrooms. It's about what's not. We've discovered a part of your government that's been missing out on millions of dollars for decades.
You'll be hard-pressed to find a court busier than Wayne County's 3rd Circuit.
All right, we're back on the record on 1155743.
More than 100,000 defendants will come through its doors every year, and to make sure they show up to face their charges, the court takes out a security policy known as bond.
It's to ensure that the defendant is likely to appear for all court appearances.
Bond is money defendants put up either on their own, with the help of a family member, or through a bail bond company. Most often, defendants on bond are required to pay only about 10% of the total haul. As long as you show up for your court dates, you keep all the money. If you don't, you're on the hook for everything. It's the court's single most powerful tool to make sure accused criminals show up. But an Action News investigation has found a broken bond system here in Wayne County, allowing most accused criminals who skip court to walk free without being pursued for the lion's share of their bond money.
Why hasn't the court been pursuing collection of bond when somebody doesn't show up?
I think it's been a resource issue.
Judge Timothy Kenny presides over the 3rd Circuit's criminal court and tells Action News that for decades, the court hasn't been doing what it should have, pursuing millions in bond money when defendants don't show for court. And in cash-strapped Wayne County, where hundreds have been laid off and services have been slashed, just how much money could have been collected but wasn't? Records obtained by the Action News investigators show a staggering figure. Since 1986, the court failed to go after nearly $65 million in potential forfeited bond. That's not including money owed by bail bonds companies, surely millions more. It's a problem that started long before Judge Kenny took charge, but it's one he's vowing to fix.
Isn't this something that should have been pursued in the past?
Well, I would say yes. It was money that could have been pursued. We are making an effort to rectify that particular problem.
Take what happened with Corey Deshaun Gaston. He was charged with kidnapping and raping a 10-year-old girl taken from this Detroit home in 2007. Given a $200,000 bond to ensure he would show up to court, Gaston vanished only 4 days before his trial was set to begin. The bail bond company that put up his 10% bond was never notified by the court that Gaston had fled, and the court never went after the bond company for the money. 3 years later, Gaston is still a wanted man. And what happened here is the norm. At Wayne County's 3rd Circuit, bond companies have not been notified when their clients don't show up to court, meaning they're never told their clients need to be found.
When it was brought to our attention, we felt that we needed to do something, and we're taking corrective action.
The worst of the worst defendants are hounded by the region's fugitive task force when they don't show in court, but plenty of other defendants are not. According to bail agents we spoke to, like Justin Butler from You Walk Bail Bonds, some criminal defendants view posting bond here as merely a cost of doing business.
They're the ones who absolutely know that when they get out and they don't show up at court, that nobody will be out there searching for them.
Down the street at 36 District Court in Detroit, it's the same story. Bail companies are not told when a defendant's on the run, and bond money isn't pursued. The chief judge says they don't have enough people to go after it.
It's not pursued, and 9 times out of 10, he or she is going to get arrested, and we're going to see them again.
One defendant who wasn't pursued was 24-year-old Jason Gibson, charged with stealing a vehicle and fleeing from police. He never showed up for his March 5th, 2010 hearing at 3rd Circuit Court. The court did not go after his bond money. The bail company never knew to look for him, and he never set foot in a courtroom again until about 3 months later when he was charged with murdering Detroit police officer Brian Huff.
Are you okay with the fact that the individual who's been arrested on a crime is not going to be forced to stand for that crime until he commits another one? And what is that new crime going to be? It might be a traffic stop, or it might be a homicide.
It's not clear if pursuing Gibson and his bond would have prevented Officer Huff's death, but we'll never know. Meanwhile, at 36th District Court, poor record keeping doesn't allow us to know just how much in forfeited bond has gone uncollected through the years, but it's a number in the millions. Court officials tell us that as a result of our investigation, for the first time in the court's history, they'll now be sending out letters like this, subpoenaing bond companies and family members when a defendant doesn't show up in court. In other courts like Macomb County, officials say they didn't used to go after forfeited bond until 2006. Now bond collection has tripled. In fact, our cameras were there when one bond company delivered a $50,000 check to the clerk's office when one of his clients fled the state.
It's a forfeiture. He was a failure to appear.
And in Oakland County, they've stepped up efforts to pursue bail in the last few years. For courts that are now promising major reforms, Justin Butler and others hope these changes are not just temporary.
You've got $5–10 million a year sitting out there in uncollected bonds. You have serious criminals that are being released on minor bonds, and it's a scary system out there.
As a direct result of our reporting, the Third Circuit has started holding hearings for people who fled instead of facing charges. In fact, they're already getting results. One of the very first hearings was held in January for a defendant charged with felonious assault and marijuana possession. The defendant did not show up for the hearing, so his entire bond was forfeited. And wouldn't you know it? When he learned that, he decided to turn himself in, making a plea. He'll be spending the next 60 days in the Wayne County Jail. It's already starting to work.
Funny how that works.
Well, now Heather, you told us, court officials told you one of the biggest reasons they haven't gone after bond is some of these defendants won't be able to pay.
Well, Carolyn, that is true, but remember, neither the Third Circuit nor the 36th District Court have even been going after the bail bond companies who put up the biggest bonds and are clearly good for the money. And, of course, court officials are now saying they will go after the companies.
All right, Heather.
I hope so.
Yeah. Thank you for that.